broadcast of the Chinese LPL. We just had our first game of the second split of 2016, and it is going to be MVP Clearlove on the Rek'Sai. 4-0-9, controlling the jungle like you would not believe. 93% kill contribution. Beautiful stuff.
Yeah, and there was a bit of questions, Rek'Sai coming back into the meta. Kindred and Nidalee were both banned that game, and we kind of talked about, the changes to vision, how that might kind of bring Rek'Sai a little bit back into power, although I don't think her Tremor Sense was necessarily as potent as it could have been, because there wasn't a lot of checking into Fog of War. It was just really controlled from EDG from start to finish. But the one thing that I do want to talk about is that Swain pick.
Yeah. A little bit of a tunnel onto laning phase, maybe? Potentially, something like that?
No, I think that's exactly it, is this idea of tunneling onto lane phase. So if you look at Newbee's draft phase, you have the Swain into the Trundle, which performed beautifully. V got that massive lead, the Flame Horizon. He was putting Mouse down, really turning him into a weak point. And then you also have the Lucian and the Braum. Obviously, that's going to be a big kill lane, good dueling potential there. You have Swift on the Lee Sin, early game jungler. The changes to experience as well as the changes to the jungle items means that Lee Sin now has this option where he can simply just power farm to level 6 and just try to rock out of the jungle with like a massive power spike that other junglers don't really have available to them, particularly Rek'Sai, just because her ultimate's not going to be a battle ultimate.
Yeah.
It's not like she's going to rock and be like, press R to win this. Oh, wait.
Just scream a whole lot and frighten everyone, I think is how you do it.
And Swift got it going early for them. He had a successful gank onto the top side as well as a successful gank onto the bottom side, but was unable to really make anything connect in that mid lane in particular.
Yeah, and Scout was actually, sort of for his debut game here in the LPL, played fantastically well against Dade. And, Dade was farming beautifully, managed to have a decent team fight towards the end of the game, but otherwise missed a couple of Chaos Storms, wasn't quite doing necessarily what he needed to be in those team fights. But the Azir, despite having, that first missed Emperor's Divide, things did otherwise look okay here for Scout in the mid lane.
But it was the inability for Newbee to kind of roll off the top of Swain winning his lane so hard. Because when Swain is in the game, I think it's fine as long as your other lanes also win. But because things started to crumble and then EDG made the proactive movement of putting Caitlyn around the map and just it turned into the sieging game, which Newbee did a good job trading. But in all of these trades, it was a long part of time where Azir and Caitlyn got to skip over their power troughs and showed up into the late game for these team fights ready to go. So I feel like Newbee kind of missed their big power window as well as their mid lane and their bot lane falling behind on the later parts of the lane phase. So it was just slight execution error. I see the mentality behind their draft phase, and I think it started off really strong, but they kind of fumbled probably around, 7 to 15 minutes.
Yeah, and I think that the draft actually looks really good on paper if you don't see the opposing team. But what was beautiful was EDG's ability to pick into it. The fact that the last rotation of picks was the Azir and the Caitlyn. Caitlyn Karma is such an oppressive lane. You have so much range to cope with the Braum, to cope with the Lucian, which would otherwise be, like you said, a kill lane that would be a massive problem. But we saw what happened was that Deft and Meiko were just pushing relentlessly. I mean, Swift did manage to gank them, you're exactly right, so that was really, really good, but it didn't stop the Karma Caitlyn from just wrecking their turret.
And then likewise, props to the MVP Clearlove because he did such a fantastic job shadowing above Meiko and Deft, making sure that anytime that they were pressured forward, that he had control of that scuttle crab on that side of the map, that he was constantly peeking in, figuring out where Swift was. It was really only that one back-to-back gank that Swift managed to pick up the kill on Deft, where Clearlove was actually farming across map on Wraith Camp. Otherwise, he was pretty much always there, and that was the big thing. Again, snowballing Caitlyn into her ability to move into sieging.
Yeah, it's really, really true. And we actually saw this sort of being developed by EDG as far as all of their warding was concerned. We saw the heat map for where all their wards were, and towards sort of the early to mid-game, almost every single ward was on the bottom side of the map. There was that one cheeky one that Mouse had in sort of his tri-brush on the top side, and that was it for top side of the map coverage. It was all about making sure that Deft and Meiko were free to push up, and despite the fact that, Swift had that cheeky little movement into the brush, back-to-back gank, managed to get one of the kills after he blew the flash, that was definitely good, but otherwise, this bottom lane from EDG was just incredibly safe almost the whole time.
Yep, and you can tell that EDG had been watching CLG at MSI.
That's exactly right. I mean...
there's Rapid Star.
Yeah, so Rapid Star still there. I tell a lie, ladies and gentlemen. He's the one behind that beautiful team comp from game number 1. Now EDG on our red side, possibly with a little bit more flexibility as far as rounding out that team comp is concerned. But first pick priority going to Newbee.
I like
they do
this.
not want to see the Azir anymore. and that is going to be the one change in the bans, as Ekko and Nidalee still gone for both of these teams.
Reminder that the 3 bans that Newbee put down last game were Ekko, Ryze, and Kindred. So Ekko going to remain. Let's see if it's going to be the Ryze or the Kindred that they priority. I have a feeling that they can leave either open.
Well, I think leaving open the Ryze sounds like a good idea for Newbee, because of course Dade has got a history with the champion.
Dade has a history with quite a few champions.
That is a very good point, but I have some recollections of the old Dade Ryze, and it's pretty beautiful to watch.
Alistar and Maokai were the other bans for EDG in the previous game, so one of those champions will get through.
Yeah. Well, we'll see exactly what is going to happen here, and whether EDG... They have taken away the Kindred now as well, so double jungle bans, targeting Swift. And Clearlove just a little bit there, but of course likes this control style that they were managed to put themselves in game number 1. Rek'Sai is actually going to hit the bench, so 3 junglers taken away. Theoretically 4, considering the fact that MLXG last split did play the Ekko jungle with the Eye of the Watcher. Very weird build.
And we talked about how Clearlove has this priority towards Graves. Of course, he pulled out the Rek'Sai last time around, but he played a wonderful Graves across from RNG in the LPL finals.
That's very, very true. Ryze is going to be the final ban here, though. So Dade, we're not going to see that one. But it does mean Alistar is left up. Still a lot of picks available here. Alistar and Maokai being the 2 champions of note that have sort of fallen out. Now that we've seen the adaptation from Newbee with the Rek'Sai and the Azir bans. Lucian being given a lot of priority here if they are going to lock that one in. It was hovered by EDG last time around, and they didn't decide to pick it up. It was, in fact, that Trundle that went away first.
Happy on your screen right now, formerly known as Pekko, formerly known as TNT.
Formerly known as.
Same
all
guy.
Sorts of different things, yes.
Very comfortable in this roster. Really the only change from QG to Newbee, now as they're known, is going to be Dade in that mid lane. Talking himself through this Lucian pick. Didn't really show up last game.
No, not really, but was sort of pressed out of his lane quite a lot. He's not quite able to close the distance necessary to get in the face of the Caitlyn. There's now Mouse thinking about grabbing himself the Maokai. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, Maokai Alistar seems to be sort of a perfect first round of picks here, but they wouldn't have the opportunity to go for that oppressive Caitlyn Karma lane. However, Maokai makes a heck of a lot of sense regardless. Already the hover here from Mouse. What would you sort of put into the hands of EDG here? They did put a lot of priority on the Trundle.
I like the Trundle as a flex pick, but obviously if you show the Maokai, it's pretty obvious where either or is going. I do like the priority on Viktor, especially now that Azir is banned. We'll see if Dade looks towards possibly an assassin.
Yeah.
I have a couple in mind.
Yeah, we were talking in the break, and I was just saying, just really want to see Dade Zed. Don't care what happens, just would like it to be picked, but Viktor is going to be picked up here.
Dade was having quite an issue last game, despite Ryze's core, making sure that his Chaos Storm was getting the full amount of damage. Obviously, a couple zeros and a decimal point may have been added to the damage on that ability. Just a straight buff, but the trick of it is you have to keep a minute longer.
Yeah, actually, the initial burst damage of the Chaos Storm was taken down just a little bit. But otherwise, it does excruciatingly large amounts of damage. We saw that when Deft, unfortunately, took a few extra ticks of it in the last game, it made short work of the Caitlyn.
I feel like the general consensus is across the 6.10 patch is moving away from this idea of nuke mages to more sustained damage mages.
Yeah.
So even if you look at Annie and Brand, yes, Brand will be able to kill most people if you know he's on clock in a single rotation through his spells, but it's still his damage has been spread out over time as opposed to, you know, like Annie rocking up, dropping all her buttons on you, and then just being done.
She also is semi-Scion now as well, with the fact that Tibbers gets extraordinarily mad if you kill Annie and goes about killing everyone.
I'm all about the Thornmail support, Annie. Maxi.
Damn right you are. Well,
that was Xin Zhao, if you guys weren't used to that portrait.
Yep. There's the new one.
It was hovered.
Not going to be picked here, I don't think, here from EDG, but we do have a couple of lock-ins on the side of Newbee, though, that we did skip over, as Graves and Trundle have been picked up.
I was going to say, he's going to jungle leave.
Oh, yes. And people might think, you know, oh, Evelynn jungle, he must be trolling. But this is Clearlove. If he wants to win, he locks in Eve, and he's going to do so right here. Eve and Caitlyn locked away for EDG. Clearlove really wants to win this game.
Yep, legacy champion for Clearlove here. Very comfortable on the Evelynn.
I also really, really like it. The fact that you have Agony's Embrace now to pair with the Gravity Field / Chaos Storm. Like, think about that mid-gang potential. That's ridiculous.
My only concern right now is they really need some heavy disengage. So Evelynn and Maokai are very reliant on flanks.
Yep, and they are very in champions.
Yes. And so right now, if Maokai is looking for a home guard flank and Eve is trying to utilize her stealth so she can get to the side and lay down her ultimate across multiple members, you got nothing standing in front of you for your Caitlyn and your Viktor. So I feel like they need a Braum here, they need an Alistar here, they need some sort of disengaged champion to keep those two safe while Clearlove and Mouse get into position.
I'd almost like a Janna, to be honest.
Could do Janna.
Because Janna Caitlyn is also just a really disgusting lane.
And it's scary to pick Alistar here, seeing that Bard.
Exactly, and this has just, like, if we go back to MSI and have a look at, like, what the most oppressive lanes were, if you look at the only game that Supermassive were able to win, it was Dumbledoge and Archu on the Lucian and the Bard, and Bard did more damage than Huhi, the mid laner, for the first 15 minutes of the game.
Mammy.
In that game. Just ridiculous.
Oh, I hope he locks in Nami.
Well, it's also, it's another one of those options, right? I mean, disengage-based supports, you mentioned that. Meiko could go towards the Braum if he wanted to.
He's really going to get bullied, though, if this happens
We
to be a 2v2.
didn't mention the fact that Dade's just picked up Kassadin.
Man, I'm already over the Kassadin.
Way past it.
So in the LPL, it's pretty historic that Kassadin is the counter, at least in the LPL, Kassadin is considered the counter to Viktor.
Yep.
I think that both of these champions are in a great spot after the 6.10 mage adjustments. Kassadin in particular, his build path, just because of the changes.
Rod of Ages is so
The
cool.
changes to Roa, just pretty much it's a straight buff. Kassadin has the higher win rate over Viktor in the LPL through 2015. We'll see if it continues here. Meiko,
in the matchup, yep.
In the matchup. Meiko is going to go ahead and lock in the Braum, so I'm curious if EDG are going to initiate a lane swap here. Because again, otherwise he is going to be at the mercy of the superior range support in Moor.
That's exactly right, and that lane is just very, very difficult to navigate. However, Caitlyn, always known for her laning phase, and we'll see whether Deft can keep up his phenomenal play from last game, of course, dodging out of the way of all sorts of things. But Newbee have most certainly changed things up with this comp. Everyone, apart from Happy, is playing a different champion and a different plan here. I mean, a lot of ability to move around the map and create havoc on the side of Newbee, but a bit of a change up here from EDG as well. Scout now moving towards that Viktor. And it is just the AD carries that are staying static for both teams.
I think the big thing is that this Trundle should be utilized as a split pusher alongside Kassadin, whereas when you see EDG pick up a Trundle, you know that it's not going to be a split push threat.
Yeah, so it's sort of like the 1-3-1 versus another team fighting comp out of EDG. However, this one, not necessarily going to be that zone defense death ball, more like the double flanks here out of Evelynn and Maokai trying to get those teleports in the right places and siege up effectively. But, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into game number 2. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the riff for game number 2 after the sweet Clearlove shower scene. It is going to be one victory here for EDG.
Out of context, that's awful.
Well, that's what we just saw. It's like I'm a play-by-play caster. I call it how I see it, Frostgreen. It's precisely what we just saw. A scout moving out. Rhyme unintentional as the defensive 5-point out of EDG begins. Meiko actually finds the Winter's Bite onto Moor here.
Two
One
more
more
hits.
auto attack. Not going to happen.
Fog
He
of
moves
War.
into Fog of War, exactly right. Trade won by EDG at this stage. Back's going to come in as Happy wants to get another 10 health from the fountain. I have a feeling that his passive regen will be able to help him out there, but EDG just making sure that no one crosses that river line.
So a lane swap is being initiated by Newbee, but what I wanted to talk about, because what I was curious is after Moor takes all of that damage as Bard, if he's going to continue to attempt to invade and contest Deft and Meiko.
Yeah.
Simply because Bard's biggest... So this is from Crapo. This is a great point from Crapo, obviously a big Bard player, is that Bard's biggest power spike is level 1, just because his auto attacks with meeps pretty much one of the highest
meep slap, yep.
The highest damaging abilities in the game, level 1. And so he wants to keep everyone level 1, and he wants to make use of that big power spike. But the fact that he ran into Deft and Meiko so early may have stopped that with the early back. But instead, we're going to have the Aussie lane swap, as it's actually going to be Deft and Meiko checking it out.
Yeah, actually going to poke their heads in, make sure that the Gromp isn't taken, and it's not. Newbee did start it up, but EDG successfully stopped them from getting that slight level advantage, as Dade taking a cue here from Scout. Range advantage, of course, always going to give Viktor a little bit of an advantage early on, but we'll see whether Dade can navigate things as the game moves on. Nice concussive blows proc comes in as Deft gets himself a free Peacemaker. Lots of damage onto more here as Meiko tanking up Happy. Nails another Winter's Bite. EDG actually laning this one out very nicely. Swift with a very early level 2 gank here. End of the line comes in. Scout moves out of the way of the damage. Takes another auto attack for it. We'll need to eat a lot of biscuits.
Really just creating space for Dade to safely be the melee champion in this ranged matchup on that Kassadin, to get him closer to that level 6. But issue was when Deft and Meiko walked into lane, to lose a trade like that with level 1 Bard, you ate the concussive blows. So you have the danger there of having that stun proc. But more importantly, Happy didn't turn off that creep wave until way too late. It was effectively more 1v2 before Lucian was like, hey, maybe I should participate here.
Maybe I should help them out. Exactly right. Well, Arcane Smash from Mouse here actually going to try and get V away from him. Grasp of the Undying comes in one more time, and the Maokai struggling a little bit right now in this matchup. Sap Magic will help him get back up as well as those potions, but he's now completely out of sustainability in those items. Could be a dangerous lane once again for Mouse.
Yeah, certainly getting bullied around, although doing much better on the CS front this time around, 11-13, but we'll keep an eye on it, as it's actually a support battle over both junglers and pretty much isolated 1v1 between Happy and Deft.
Yeah, and just making sure that EDG can keep their eyes on Swift, make sure he's not going to be ganking Scout there in the mid lane. Held onto his flash, of course, and is now headed back to base, grabbing himself an extra Doran's Ring, just to try and take control of this lane. Teleport back in from Mouse. He's going to be able to keep farming this one out. Nice Cosmic Binding lands on a Deft. Unbreakable, not going to shield too much of that damage. As more. One more auto attack. This could be a lot out of here. Is that auto attack not quite enough? The Ignite's going to tick down. Eats himself and drinks himself a delicious cup of cocoa. Things are going to be absolutely fine. As Clearlove, not sure whether he was seen, as there are pings down. Mouse once again in trouble as the pillar did go down.
And they're simply not respecting Meiko on this Braum.
No.
You keep the creep wave in front of you. You need to get control of it. And yes, Deft is doing a great job as Caitlyn, using her Q, getting control of the creep wave, constantly having it pushed in so that way there's less creeps in front of Happy and more to protect them from the Winter's Bite. But still, you cannot let that ability connect on you so easily. It's losing them all of these trades.
You can see actually Clearlove is going to find that his blue buff has been started off. Makes his way in, we'll see it. We'll have the smite available. Actually doesn't, as Clearlove does grab away the blue buff. Now Swift in potentially a bit of trouble. Viktor with the inside track. Mouse is going to get in there. Flash Twisted Advance is going to come down. And that's going to be first blood going to Clearlove. EDG starting things off beautifully. And he just looks so comfortable on the Evelynn.
Yeah, Swift goes for a very aggressive invade, not having control over the bottom side of the map. It was a wave pushed into V, so naturally Mouse is going to get there first. And it was really that lockdown of the Twisted Advance that put Swift in the ground. So tries to play aggressive and gets punished.
It's beautiful, and it's really great to see. Oh, flash out of Dade as Meiko was making his way in. Winter's Bite would have slowed him down. Death Ray would have been very easy. Lots of damage out of this EDG mid laner.
And it's where Scout has the wave right now. It will push back towards Dade, but right now all of the advantage that Swift had given Dade on that level 2 gank has pretty much been absorbed by Swift dying in Clearlove's jungle and that drive-by gank.
Yeah, precisely. Well,
I didn't count the creeps. He's donezo.
You can see Dade actually taking a bit of damage here, but in goes more. We'll see what he can do. Lock him down. That potential Cosmic Binding doesn't, because Gravity Field's there. Scout grabs himself a stun and will be absolutely fine. Does, of course, have that flash back up. Or does have flash up.
Okay, so the issue is that Dade has more creeps on his side as the incoming wave came in.
Yeah.
I missed 2 creeps when I was counting that. To be fair, the camera panned real quick.
Yeah, well, I just give up on counting the creep waves. I leave that one up to the experts like you, Crossgreen.
Basic math. It's hard sometimes.
It certainly is. I would not be very good at counting cards in blackjack.
Dade needs help with this wave.
We'll see whether Swift is actually going to be able to make his way in and do so.
That is why Swift is here, but Meiko is also here.
Yeah, Chaos Storm is available here from Scout. Just hit level 6. Swift, of course, level 5 now. Meiko level 3, though. Probably wants to get back up. Clearlove does have Agony's Embrace right now. Gives away his position right there by using the stand beside me. Stand behind me, sorry.
It's fine, though. Through Scout's laser, wave will finally bounce back for Dade, so the CS discrepancy still going to be quite sizable in Viktor's lead, but Dade should be able to shore some of it up underneath this tower, and not in a terrible spot for Kassadin versus Viktor.
Yeah, of course, and has now hit that level 6 mark, so Riftwalk going to be there, going to be able to help him get a little bit more harassment down, and of course give him a whole lot of safety. So do have a look at
wards.
The vision game one more time, and this time EDG, of course, moving it towards the top side of the map, because where is Deft and Meiko?
This is my favorite
top side
game.
Of the map. Yeah.
Figuring out what the graphs mean on the bottom side of the screen.
I know, right?
Is that a Predator map? Is that?
I think we've nailed it so far. Don't know why it told us exactly where Deft had been for the last little while, as Peacemaker goes wide. Happy, not going to juke it. Mind games on the top side of the map.
I'm going to say the guy just got really excited backstage. He's like, let's bring out the Heat Seeker map. And then just fat-fingered missed the jungler, hit the Caitlyn.
Yep.
See, she's been in the bottom lane.
Well, the siege is on. The Deft and Meiko here towards the top side, still with a CS lead.
Check out where Clearlove is. This is the Clearlove special. A lot of people,
Ow.
He's in trouble.
Yeah, Concussive Blow is actually going to be procced here as well. 200 health is more. Nice Cosmic Binding comes in. Yeah, the Ignite's down as well as Deft able to fire back onto Happy. Creep Wave doing some damage. Peacemaker comes in, but Happy, he'll have to go back after this creep, and Clearlove is going to stop him from doing it. There's the ultimate. Just throws it down and gets the kill. It's going to be a second there as Clearlove has 3. Swift finds his way in. Will he be able to get the shutdown? I have no idea, because that's just Clearlove's face. Swift was able to pick it up. Meiko flashes out. Swift not going to be able to flash over the wall because he used it before, but Quick Draw is going to be there. And Deft now might actually have to move out of the way. Lots of damage comes in. Concussive Blows might need to be procced here to keep Deft safe. One more auto attack, that's going to do it. Trap goes down, and Swift is not going to be able to find the kill, but that's one already, and that is the one he needed onto Clearlove.
Yep, 2 for 1 trade, but more important, it's where the trade was allocated. So it is going to be, like you said, Swift picking up the gold, which means that Happy and Moore are still in so much trouble when they match up across from Caitlyn and Braum again. Here's the replay, and Meiko was just playing this lane so well. Ah, the Clearlove special.
Watch the ultimate, guys.
So something that Clearlove does really well, he was criticized through 2014 and kind of early 2015.
Oh, that was Smite.
Yeah, he smited him first, and then he ulted.
Yeah.
Is that Clearlove wasn't an aggressive enough jungler. Obviously, Clearlove has kind of changed it around and now has this reputation of being aggressive and passive. You know, the fact that he's meta-resistant, that he can play multiple styles, has made him such a potent and powerful, long-lasting jungler in the LPL scene. But something he's always been good at is shadowing underneath his lanes and making sure that he's always on the right side of the map where the pressure is, which is exactly what happened there.
Yeah. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, I am aware that Evelynn does % current health damage, so you actually cannot kill someone unless they're on 1 health with her ultimate. So it had to have been the smite. I just sort of lost my mind for a moment.
I wasn't gonna.
Yeah.
There's always that moment where you're like, do you bust them?
Yeah.
No. It's okay, Atlas. You're always right in my eyes.
And don't worry, I've always got it if you don't manage to do so.
I was waiting for the replay to pull it back.
Yeah, exactly right. But
and I wasn't even going to point it out. I was just going to be like, and there's the smite.
I was an avid Evelynn player in my time.
I can see that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that was back when her ultimate just did a heck of a lot of damage and you built a Deathfire Grasp and you played her in the mid lane.
Let's go ahead and check in on the items.
Yeah, let's do that.
Hard advance.
Yeah, nice work.
We've got the completed... we have both flat AD items up and available for Caitlyn, so looking for that BF sword into the pickaxe. From here, Caitlyn's typically then go into the Zeal, upgrade into Hurricane before completing the Infinity Edge, because it's more about sieging than it is about trying to crit those towers. But Swift may have something else to say about it.
Yeah, Cosmic Binding actually not going to find it onto Meiko there as the teleport's going to come in. More and a whole host of trouble. Another auto attack will do it. Tries to temper fade his way out, but he's a little bit late. That's a trade 1 for 1 as both supports are going to fall. But in goes Clearlove. And look at this damage. V has to flash his way out, but is it even going to be enough? Hate Spikes coming in. Clearlove able to clean that one quite nicely there for EDG.
And exactly where he needs to be always. Clearlove shadowing underneath, shows up, and then Deft's items discrepancy really speak for themselves. Here comes the dive.
Yeah, Twisted Advance comes in there from Mouse, tanking up the turret like nobody's business. And just That's like 4 turret auto attacks. Still fine as Clearlove's just going to help clean out this turret. First outer is going to fall, and EDG are well in control of this game.
Yeah, that's a sizable gold lead at about 12 minutes into this game. I'm going to say 3K, even though it's closer to 4K.
Yeah, lock it in.
Yeah. Deft. My curious thing is what's he going to itemize as soon as he gets back if Mor doesn't kill him.
Yeah, well, meat slaps are coming in as
Get him.
Deft is just trying to drink as
Sick
much
'em.
potion as possible. Kiting back nicely.
Ignited!
Yeah, there it is. The culling is going to be used, and Clearlove just going to make it a 1-for-1 trade. Stand beside me comes in as Meiko nails another chair. But Happy not going to fall as Clearlove. He's got jungle to farm. He's got things to buy.
Good news, though, is that Happy caught a bone.
Yep.
Has his Caulfield Hammer completed, as well as finally picked up a kill. Unfortunately, had to trade Mord's life for it, but that's fine. And it is actually going to be the Infinity Edge. So here's the question. Obviously, you get an initial battle power spike going for the crit passive on the Infinity Edge versus looking for your attack speed and your Hurricane. I have a feeling that Deft actually just went back and was like, I have enough money to buy the Infinity Edge. I'm going to go ahead and do this. But you now have a window of opportunity for EDG where they can continue, and Deft's actually walking back towards the top lane, continue to fight and to make use of your battle advantage with the Edge build as opposed to your sieging advantage with a Hurricane or a Zeal Rush.
Yeah, this just shows the fact that EDG, they want to stay in this laning phase, try and dominate as best they can.
I think they're going to collapse over the Rift Herald, and Deft's actually up there to just clear the wave. They should collapse onto that, put it onto one of their split pushers, and start to siege up anyway, or contest for this dragon.
Well, we'll see exactly what is going to happen here as Mor just pushed away from the river. Happy going to set up shop in the mid lane as Dade was back. Grabbed himself the Rod of Ages. Has made it. Of course, Scout with still a fairly sizable lead in that mid lane, 27 CS. It's Happy now dodges out of the way of a lot. Gravity Field goes down just to try and zone. Tempered Fate comes in. No one's going to be tagged by it apart from a couple of minions. Meiko happily takes a turret shot and they wander out of the way. Time bought, though, for Newbee.
I mean, the scary thing is we didn't touch about this in Champions Select because I wanted to see if it came to fruition, is anytime you fall behind on a Kassadin composition, your towers are just gone, especially across from the likes of Caitlyn.
Yeah.
You just don't have the wave clear to keep these structures
God,
up.
Happy in so much trouble. The last auto attack not going to come in there as the Magical Journey going to be taken by Scout. What are you doing, buddy? Uses the flash, gets himself out of the way, but oh my god, Clearlove, so much damage. Dade wants to try and clean up. Scout not going to fall down after that Q comes in. A little bit of a miscalculation. And now Mouse, he's hunting Dade. This is going to be the turret falling down, though. EDG, they do come out on top, despite the fact that that was very interesting from Scout.
Okay, timeout, calm down, everyone's alive.
Yep.
Except for Happy.
Except for Happy.
That's fine.
Ironically.
That was almost beautiful from EDG. Great sieging, zoning everyone off. Newbee just completely out of position to hold their structures. We talked about this. If a Kassadin comp falls behind, it's pretty much our combined wave clear of Graves and Lucian. Please, mercy.
Yeah.
We can hold out. But across from Caitlyn and Viktor, your structures go bye-bye. Taking that magical journey, though, kind of a questionable call. Things maybe went a little bit sideways after, but it's okay because Dade burned teleport, didn't calculate his damage.
It's his first game in the LPL, you know. Nerves are bound to be there.
It was interesting.
It was certainly interesting, and he was fine in the end. It ended up baiting Happy into the fight, so
it was like
could have just been genius, honestly.
A really long magical journey.
Yeah.
That was the beauty of it. You knew, like, halfway through the tunnel, he's like, this is a bad idea.
Yeah, he's like, I regret this, I regret this, I regret this. He had a lot of time to regret it as well, which was a little bit unfortunate. But in the end, it is going to be double upgrades on that Hex Core for Scout in the mid lane. Has himself some Lucidity boots as well. Not going for the Swiftness boots that Dade grabbed. More than happy with his current movement speed.
He's not running Ghost either. That was the other iteration. And we saw this in the LCK, is that Viktor took Ghost. Obviously, Ghost is on a every time I try. Get him. Come on, I stopped my point for this.
Nailed the crit. Oh, actually might be able to get it here as he dodges out of the way. Beautiful stuff. The stun comes in, but there's the Tempered Fate. Will need to flash. There's the coming from Clearlove as they pick up one. Swift is going to fall down as well. Deft somehow alive. Red buff is going to do it there for Swift as he locks down the Revenge Kill, but it's still a 2-for-1 trade. EDG and Clearlove especially, just everywhere.
Yeah, beautiful collabs, making sure, again, I always use the word shadowing. That's the thing that Clearlove's really good at, is just shadowing behind Deft and Meiko. They're going to be your core primary playmakers and carries, and Clearlove just makes sure that he tags along and helps set them up and facilitate.
Exactly right. Well, EDG looking for some damage on this outer turret on the bottom side of the map, but not going to find too much of it, as a tree and a dude holding a chair ain't going to do much damage to it.
Maokai has some pretty high flat AD.
Oh yeah, his level 1 base damage, highest in the game for a melee champion, I believe.
I was going to
Spawn
say,
will tell you.
he chipped pretty well on that tower, if I don't say so myself.
I appreciate the pun, Frosco.
I tried. I had a point. What was it?
I don't know. We went into tree puns and then everything just went
Ghost.
wrong there. Aha!
Mountain Dragon.
Well, Mountain Dragon is actually going to be picked up. Our first one of the series so far, as EDG are going to be able to lock that one through. Gives you more damage on sort of neutral objectives as well as turrets. And if you've got a Caitlyn on your team, having a Mountain Drake feels very good in the mid-game.
Bonus percentile damage. I believe it's 10, 20, and 30%.
Mm-hmm.
So they have 10% on
And
towers
it's true damage as well.
epic monsters.
Pretty ridiculous. If you were going to rate it, where would you put it in your scale of dragons?
Oh, thanks for the softball. So my opinion is that when you come to sieging, okay, so there's kind of two trains of thought here. Obviously, Mountain Dragon is always going to be a high priority simply because to win the game, you have to go through the towers. Mm-hmm. And so that makes it kind of the most effective and most important dragon in that regard. But if you're thinking about, you know, cost value worth of stats, Infernal Dragon's going to give you damage and scaling AP and AD, so it's going to give you effectively like lane dominance if you get it early. Ocean Drake is going to help every time.
Yeah.
Ocean,
Don't worry, he's going to be fine. He has Rift Wall.
Ocean Drake is going to assist you in kind of like these elongated mid-game periods where it's about finding roams and, you know, the region really kicking in to make sure that you stay on the Rift longer, that you're opening up more ganks and more opportunities for you. So I think that Mountain Drake's possibly the most important, but for early game, I actually think Ocean Drake and Infernal Drake might be slightly more important. And then once you're past or close to that kind of 25 up point, Infernal Drake, its scaling stats are ridiculous for your gold value back.
Nice steal there from Swift.
He got
go
it.
Back to the game, grabs himself the red buff. You can see how Observer's saying, yeah, damn right he did. As Death Ray comes in, doesn't find the second tick, but EDG setting up for a siege here towards the bottom side. New Mountain Drake there. Lots of damage there onto Swift as he steps on a trap. And Dade takes half of his health there. Meiko uncharacteristically missing.
TP from behind, though.
Yeah, exactly. Newbee actually trying to close in on this one. They are trying to get back into their Death Ball or EDG, and there goes the pillar as Meiko just standing in front of Deft. He's very low. Dade finishes him off as Meiko, the tip of the culling, not going to quite be enough, but Swift is going to be able to pick that one up there. And now EDG running for the hills. Double kill for Dade. Clearlove throws down the ultimate, gives himself a big shield, but the chase potential is not going to be there out of Newbee, but what a team fight.
Yeah, 4v5 and Newbee come on top. Dade finally gets to that back line, so they couldn't do it in game 1, finds the Kassadin pick and gets Deft in game number 2, and that's a 2-0 Kassadin now.
Yeah, beautifully done, despite the fact that Deft still did a heck of a lot of damage in that team fight.
He did. Good positioning as always, but you can only outrun so many Rift Walks. Likewise, V played that fight very well, making sure that he had those pillars to cage the rest of EDG for nice cleanup duty for this Kassadin.
Yeah, true. V also going for a very early Ravenous Hydra this time around.
Again, we talked about kind of the differences. You saw Mouse's build last game on the Trundle. He was effectively a secondary support, really just there for the disengage for EDG's comp. Whereas V and Kassadin, if this Trundle and Kassadin get going, you're opening up a massive 1-3-1 split push opportunity. Because what type of lane assignment do you send across them? How do you stop them? At some point, Maokai won't be able to stop Trundle.
And I really love it out of Newbee as well. The fact that they've managed to sort of test EDG completely as V is just going to die. Deft picks up the kill. Just caught bacon.
Well, you know, if he's caught by 3 people.
Caught bacon. Yeah, unfortunate. There for V.
What was he
Just
baking?
as we were singing his praises as well. Bacon cupcakes, I think. So
I
believe
see.
it was-
Caitlyn, I got it.
Yeah, that was a pretty good one, I thought.
Nailed it.
Look, I need to take what I can get, as Clearlove has. Actually caught out of position more. Swift going to make his way in. Smoke screen goes down. They don't want to take that magical journey into a potential death. Deft and Clearlove just going to step around the side. This inner turret could possibly be under fire in a few moments.
They do have a window of opportunity where there's a TP advantage for EDG, however, as they continue the siege. It is going to be the standard max trap Caitlyn to empower her sieging.
Yeah, as well as look at the gravity field going down at the same
Actually,
time. So
he
much
maxed
zoning control.
Q.
Yeah, that's what you do, isn't it?
No.
Oh, okay. I'd always max Q just because, you know, that gives you
Again,
the
he
damages.
itemized into the Infinity Edge, so looking for those battle stats.
Yeah, exactly right. Tempered Fate looking for Scout. Finds him there as well as V's going to make his way all the way up to the Viktor. But there's the Chaos Storm. More. Takes a lot of damage. Clearlove right in the middle of this fight. Dade still high health. Mouse in a lot of trouble. Flashes out of the way. But EDG all over this team fight. But now Deft picks up that last one. But Dade finishes him. And it is 2 versus 2 as the dust settles. 3-for-3 trade. And Newbee actually now on the offensive. Clearlove invisible again. And Scout with still a lot of damage. Exhaust up very soon.
Trying to set a trap for Dade here. We'll see if they're able to execute it. Have to be careful, though. This Kassadin is starting to get out of control. We talked about this. The 6.10 adjustments to items, particularly the 6.9 patch, if we're being correct.
And once again, the damage in the team fight. Very high on the side of EDG, but unfortunately unable to find the kills in the end as Dade uses his Rift to get out of the way. There's the slow from the Ryze. Another one comes in. The exhaust is there, though. And Scout moving so quickly with that Q. There's the shutdown. Clearlove grabs it. And normally you'd say, oh, Jungler got it. But no, when he's on the Evelynn, he's got his carry pants on, ready to take things into the late game. More just scouting things around. There is a lot of members of Newbee moving up here. Gravity field goes down. He's going to get stunned. Swift can't close the distance. But V, meanwhile, is going to be able to grab himself a turret.
Yeah, coming online with his ability to split push. We'll see if he's caught out anymore, which is effectively what started that elongated trade on the top side of the map in the first part.
Yeah.
I wanted to quickly check in on Clearlove's build. So he is sitting 10-1-5 on this Evelynn right now, has his Ryze up and online, as well as his Ekko jungle item.
Yeah, the Runic Echoes, of course, coming in there. Going for the cooldown reduction of the Lucidity boots. We'll see what he actually builds next. It might be the Zhonya's, something like that. He does have a cheeky little book there.
He went for Abyssal.
The Abyssal Scepter. Now newly with some cooldown reduction.
And he did that straight out from an Amplifying Tome.
Yeah.
So he was sitting on quite a sizable amount of gold for that last team fight.
Yeah, that's actually a really, really good point.
I try.
Yeah, and of course having that aura there as well will help Mouse's damage, Scout's damage there as well.
You went for Maokai first?
Yeah, well, I was reading down the line.
It'll really help out Maokai. We never mind the AoE Chaos Storm, but the Maokai, the tree is good to go.
Oh, we busting chops today, Frostgrin. I got to really watch out. Now EDG moving 5-man strong up the mid lane. Of course, Newbee don't know quite where Clearlove is, but they probably assume that he's hanging around. Pillar goes down. Meiko just standing right up in front. They're just trying to siege this one where they can. Dade finds his way in. Tempered Fate doesn't find anyone, though, as Deft quite low. Dade still looking for his way into this fight. Ventral Maelstrom goes down. Mouse trying to get himself into a position to reduce damage for his team. You saw him standing on top of Deft. Wants to make sure that he can't get assassinated by Dade one more time as Clearlove has found out the Kassadin. He'll need to Rift Walk his way away. Does so.
It's just so different how Koro and Mouse and even V are kind of playing around as these top laners. Mouse is effectively used entirely for
Oh my goodness, the longest twisted advance ever as Mouse finds himself out of position. Meiko right in there, uses the Unbreakable. The turret falls down and Mouse is still alive. These magical journeys for EDG just seem to be A-okay.
Caster Curse.
Yeah.
But Mouse was effectively using himself entirely for peel. He wasn't looking for the hard engage flanking
Certainly
Maokai.
won't again, because that was very scary. As here's another teamfight. Deft burning to death with that Ignite. Will it be enough here? No, it's not. Manages to get out. Newbee, though, will utilize this in order to grab themselves a dragon.
It is going to be Cloud Drake, though, comparatively to EDG's Mountain Drake.
Yep.
Still don't rate Cloud Drake very highly in...
The Linker Drake, not a fan?
Okay, so kind of cool things that can happen with Cloud Drake, because I was trying to do the math on this, is if you get all three, it's plus 45 bonus.
And gives you a really cool animation, Frostgrin.
And gives you a really cool blue cape.
Yep.
Dead Man's Plate looking thing.
Yep.
But it gives you plus 45 flat, and if you have Swifties, that's 60 plus, 45, which gives you 105. Mobility is at 115, so you effectively have 10 less movement speed than your mobility boots. Out of combat, and then you have Swifties in combat. So I think that that's like the one scenario where Cloud Drake is actually really good.
Yeah, and especially if you've got one of these comps that wants to be moving around a lot, or if you've got an annoying split pusher that wants to move a lot more quickly. I think a lot of these dragons can be utilized differently based on what your team comp is, and which ones you should be prioritizing as the game moves on should sort of vary based on what your comp can do.
And I like the idea of
the flexibility does. It's exciting.
The responsibility on pivoting.
Yeah.
I think it's really going to start to show the difference between teams that have great shot callers and kind of can adapt in-game rather than teams who are coached really well. You know, you set them up on the timers, everything's very mechanical, it all kind of falls into line, versus just having that brain on the Rift with you.
Yeah, that's why I'm excited to see RNG play, of course, Mata being basically a coach as well as a support player. Of course, that will be tomorrow, game number 1. As WE take on RNG. But currently EDG pressing up here towards the bottom side of the map. Ult goes out, Swift going to tank that one up. Quick draw not going to really help him out too much there as Gravity Field in there one more time. We'll see whether the traps actually make it in as Deft, once again taking a lot of damage, uses the net, makes his way out. There's more, my god, takes so much damage. Clearlove holds onto the ultimate. Chaos Storm still available here as well from Scout as EDG. So many of their tools still available, and in goes the trap line. There's 5 of them now. Ain't no one from Newbee moving across that line.
And it was a second max on trap there for Caitlyn sieging potential. As well, she has 3 items, so 2 attack speed items, the Zeal and the Hurricane, as well as her Infinity Edge online, so a very potent and powerful Caitlyn. And likewise, we can quickly touch on Happy's build, because he did not opt into the Black Cleaver Ghostblade build this time around.
Yeah.
He actually went for the, I'm going to call it late game, back to the Essence Reaver Lucian build.
And this is actually the vote, ladies and gentlemen, because I have a feeling if it was in fact win rate for week 1 of the LPL, last split, QG would have been pretty high. So Newbee's percentage will be higher. So that is the vote. Our friends in China saying that EDG have gained a % now that they've won a game, which makes sense.
Confidence. It was that one extra person. He's like, I changed my mind.
Yeah, I've changed my mind.
They're looking good.
He just wanted to check out Dade, to see whether we got spring or summer.
Dade's...
He's playing well this game.
Yeah, acceptable.
Yeah. 3-1 and 2 now. Has the Abyssal Scepter completed. Tier still stacking here at the same time, so we'll have that Seraph's Embrace online relatively soon. And, you know, when you go for that sort of Ryze-style build, you will have a lot of added power moving forward. Clearlove caught out of position here as well. May need to ult to give himself that shield. Actually decides not to. There it is eventually as collateral damage, not quite enough. Meiko was looking for a stand beside me opportunity if they were to chase. Doesn't get in there though. Newbee can't get the pick.
Yeah, nothing will really come from it. Pings do go down into the mid tower, but unfortunately they need to take Scout out and remove a lot of this wave clear before they can start sieging any sort of objective. They need to really start back to this 1-3-1, which you can see Dade finally heading up toward the top side. So Newbee, at 28 minutes in this game, finally executing on their comp.
Yeah. But we'll see whether it's going to be successful as well. Both the teleports are up.
So the issue right now is you finally get Dade and V out into the side lanes, but there's no pressure in the mid lane because they just took some chunks.
Yeah.
So Moore and Happy and Swift all have to be in position simultaneously with their side wings.
Oh, as well, we've got a change up in build here on the side of Happy. So he's decided to go for that Essence Reaver this time around. Wants the added damage. Mortal Reminder is going to be coming up very soon for 3rd item. So looking for that late game Lucian. And understanding that Newbee, of course, took the game very, very late, relatively easily, despite the fact that they fell behind in a lot of that map pressure. Just saying that we want to give ourselves as much opportunity to win late as we can.
Yeah, but they're not playing the map as efficiently as they could. V forced to back up right now simply because there's no other pressure points on the map. Again, Happy and Moore have not created a big enough target in the mid lane for this Trundle to safely push up as far as he wants to. And again, talking about lane assignments, at some point, Mouse will be really unable to deal with V without some extra help.
Well, he's heading back towards the bottom side of the map now. V now moving into his jungle. We'll see where the next point of contest will be.
I have a feeling it's going to be in 50 seconds.
Haha. Could be a certain dragon coming up around that time. Of course, 1 remaining inner turret is there. 5 turrets taken here for EDG in comparison to the 1 of Newbee. 6,000 gold is roughly the lead. It's Edward Gaming looking to try and push out these minion waves. Possibly go towards their next objective. You can see lots of damage dealers towards the top side as Clearlove scouting things out.
I'm a little bit concerned that Dade doesn't have his Hourglass, though.
Yeah.
Just has the Abyssal Seraph's Embrace, so...
Cheeky auto attack on this turret will have taken that one down as Mor completely out of position. He's going to die. Legendary Clearlove is now in there as V actually going to be tagged by the chair as soon as he turns up. Going after that teleport. There's the ultimate out of Meiko, but he's taking so much damage. Has to try and go back, but Dade picks up the kill. It is going to be traded immediately for Happy, though, as V has to flash out of the way. Mouse is massive in the backline as Swift down to about a third health. And Deft just on the prowl, looking for as much as he can get. 2-for-1 trade in favor of EDG.
And we talked about this. Newbee tried to set up their split push into the side at 28 minutes, but no one is on the same page, and suddenly people are getting picked off as they're trying to set down a neutral ward line. It translates into a free Baron, possibly. Swift could look for another miracle still, but EDG in full control.
Oh, he's not going to be able to get his way out this time as well. Does have the ultimate, could throw that one in if he wants to. There he is! But he's going to die before... Oh, what? He still took it! What? Okay, end of the line, just stole Baron after Swift died. What is this devilry, Froskerin?
What a god.
Oh, I want this in slow motion.
Okay, Deft goes over the wall. Swift goes inside. There's the end of the line. Where's the smite? There's the smite.
Smites it down to 40 health.
Oh.
Oh.
That actually hurts my soul.
Yeah. I feel it. Mountain Drake number 2 coming in is EDG. Wonder whether they're going to be able to smite this one away. The auto attack's going to be enough. As Deft locks it down.
That's double
what
mountain,
is going on?
Mountain Drake for EDG. Yep. Bumps up their damage to 20%. I can't get over that.
You are done. Completely understood here as Dade takes a heck of a lot of damage from Mouse. Or is that one last Q and Mouse says, yeah, bring it on, man. I don't care at all.
It goes back to this idea that, you know, Clearlove maybe not respecting Swift as much as he should. He's only faced Swift once over the course of the year.
Well, that's not, it has nothing to do with Swift. He's smited and got Baron to 40 health. It's just silly. No matter what. Like, I don't really care.
But the fact that it's happened back to back.
Yeah.
Like, in the single context.
Real crazy.
But in the first game, too.
Oh, gosh. Well, Dade.
What's hilarious is EDG actually have a pretty atrocious Baron control rate. It got better as the spring split went on, but it actually started out as one of the worst in the league. But they do have the highest Dragon control rate in the LPL.
Yeah, and in fact, we're prioritizing Dragon a little bit more than they otherwise should last split.
The meta just shifted into them. How rare is that? Typically, EDG really fumble on new patches. It takes them a long time to really get up and running. If you were kind of pinpoint a weakness to Edward Gaming, that would be it. But I feel like 6.10 is just perfect for them.
Yeah, it's really working out. Hex Drinker now as well, built up for Deft, so we'll survive against Dade a little bit better. And we'll see what Clearlove is going to be picking up after his Zhonya's Hourglass as well. So he actually built that out of just the Fiendish Codex, so he's just going back with lots of money in the bank. And final item will be that Void Staff by the looks.
Again, though, speaking of Hourglass, Dade does have the Seraph's Embrace. Previously, it was just an Archangel Staff, so he does have more survivability when he decides to go onto this backline. That's pretty much entirely Dade's job right now. He's not janitorial duty. Obviously, if the opportunity presents it to himself, he can be, but his primary goal is to dive backlines and to kill Deft.
Well, EDG actually looking for a way in here, as you can see, moving up very aggressively.
Dade's in the bottom lane, though, has TP available to him, but will start to do significant damage to this tower. Yeah,
that W actually ripping through towers. As he has the Baron buff as well, remember. Survived, as Swift was the one that sacrificed himself to pick up that buff for the team. Turret falls down, one auto attack does it, but it's going to be traded, and Mouse is looking to try and stop Dade from pushing forward. Does so successfully. Empowered Recall going to get Dade back to base. But teleport is there from Mouse if anything was to happen. And EDG continue to move around. Deft just wanders casually out of the way of the Tempered Fate as Swift taking a fair bit of damage, but Meiko as well, soaking as much as he can. The culling comes down. Clearlove can't quite find what he's looking for. The ultimate is still there. And Newbee just testing the waters. No teleport to come in from Mouse, holding onto as many triggers as they can right now on the side of EDG.
I'm watching Swift, sorry.
Yep, Dade as well. Took a little bit of damage.
Okay, so all said and done, Baron buff will be expiring in a short while, if not dropped off. Wish I could check. But it was a 1-for-1 tower trade, I believe.
Yes, it was.
Second tier tower, bot side for Newbee, top side for EDG, which, I mean, technically that's good news for Newbee simply because they are behind in gold, and anytime you can trade from behind, it's always going to be a favorable situation for you.
Yeah. There was also an inner turret when they've got 2 outer turrets yet to take as well. That's only 2 turrets taken for Newbee so far. 6 for EDG as they've taken the entire outer ring of both levels. So just inhibitor turrets remaining, as well as those couple of Nexus, pesky Nexus turrets still there. His Mouse is going to find his way in towards the top side of the map as well. So defending out those outers still. He has a, Randuin's Omen there as well. So not going to be taking a lot of damage from V and Happy. But also the Subjugate going to be doing a lot of work. If Newbee find themselves in a team fight, is now Happy in trouble. Ultimate comes in from Deft. And Swift says, no, you can have it.
I'm farming wolves.
Yeah, exactly right. Just go back to base, mate. You'll be fine.
Yeah, doesn't really have any lifesteal to augment that on his build, and Moore is caught out again.
One more time. The Magical Journey's going to be taken, and Scout's going to pick up the kill. Tag comes in, but it's a really nice gravity field. Scout playing around EDG so beautifully here in his first game for the team. And Teleport comes in, so Mouse trying to break open the base. Does so well by keeping that minion wave alive. And EDG will take an easy inhibitor off that one pick. Moore just not looking comfortable on the Bard at all. And we saw him on it last split as well. I mean, it's always been a little bit of a question mark. Does he play anything well other than the Braum and the Alistar started to get targeted?
It just comes back to kind of his tendencies as a player. Moore really likes to be on that front line as an initiator and a primary facilitator for his team. When you're playing Bard, it's more about this kite identity, this pick identity, and that's never really been Moore's bag. He's an Annie, an Alistar, a Braum player.
Yeah, and the culling completely eaten here as the Tempered Fate grabs 3 members of EDG. The Pillar comes in fantastic position. Look at this AoE damage from Newbee as Swift makes his way into the backline. Dade going ballistic in this fight. Double kill already as now Mouse, he's the last one standing. Clearlove going to fall down. Could it be the Quadra for Dade? Welcome to the LPL, my friend. It's not going to be as Happy locks it down. But a triple for the Kassadin, and Newbee looked great in that fight.
And Moore says, timeout, guys. Let me get a reset on this. Finds a massive tempered fate on 3 people and sets up the perfect engagement for Newbee. They pull the trigger instantaneously. And Dade really showing that this Kassadin is up and online. Look at that damage done to champions.
Ludicrous. 6,200 damage approximately. Let's have a look at this one again. Because it was just the fact that EDG got surrounded.
Yeah, great placement, and then following it up by the Pillar. And then, like we said, Dade just able to play cleanup duty when the opportunity presents it to himself, but more importantly, flashing and making sure he instantly gets on Deft.
Yeah, Clearlove used the Zhonya's, but it was all she wrote at that stage. Mouse proving to be very tanky, but look, Newbee winning that team fight. They will take it to the Baron as well. It's already down to half health. They don't have a jungler, but Clearlove nowhere in sight. This will be their second Baron of the game. Beautiful play out of Newbee, and they've found themselves right back in this game.
And again, another steal from Swift allows Newbee to keep their foot in this door, and taking that one team fight into 2 Barons. We could start to see a turnaround as EDG immediately go for the Elder Dragon. Now, this is kind of an interesting trade if they get this objective, which the empowered recall times from the Baron looks like Newbee are able to kind of reposition themselves on the map and deny that.
Yeah. More of Malmortius, though, has been picked up from Deft, so a little bit more healthy when Dade is going to jump on top of him. Of course, now has some lifesteal at the same time. So if he gets bursted out, he will be able to get himself back up to relative health values in the middle of these team fights. But not sure whether it's going to be enough as Dade he's on 6 items. This is a very big Kassadin. And despite the fact that he doesn't have that Rabadon's Death Cap built up yet, he's got everything else, and there's also the scaling power of Seraph's Embrace based on that mana with the Rod of Ages. Just gives you so much AP to work with.
I just like the fact that he has the shield as well as the Hourglass to get back and to get into the middle and the thick of it.
We'll see whether he sells that Abyssal Scepter at some point as well and grabs himself a Rabadon's Death Cap just for massive percentile AP. You can see double cannon creeps here towards the top side of the map. Mouse, though, is going to be able to clear out this minion wave as V didn't want to get himself all the way underneath that turret. You can see Deft clearing out the pink ward. Elder Dragon still chilling.
Okay, needs to be reminded that Elder Dragon will provide some battle stats as well as a 1.5% on your dragons held. For EDG, that's 2 mountain dragons, which means that it's effectively sieging dragons versus sieging buff. If they manage to secure the Elder Dragon, that'd be incredible to see what would win out over the Baron buff versus their empowered mountain.
Well, precisely. At the moment, though, V, split pushing like a beast towards the top side of the map, still has that subjugate if Mouse was going to try and fight him. You can see he just doesn't do any damage. Be able to ignore him.
Yeah, lane assignments. At some point, this Trundle was going to become a problem for the Maokai. And he's just going to start sieging these towers, which means that EDG are going to have to allocate multiple resources to deal with him, which means that Newbee have the pick of the litter on what they want in the map.
Well, you can see now with the Baron buff especially, I mean, Mouse just can't get through these creeps. He does have the Vengeful Maelstrom up. He's trying to stop V from doing it, but he's going to break open the base right now. The Dragon has been started on the side of Newbee, and this split push power that they have is really working out for them. Finally, the Trundle in a bit of trouble as the turret does stay up, but the Dragon falls, and it is going to go to Newbee. Fantastic Tempered Fate comes in. They're able to create a position for themselves. There's a Cosmic Binding as well. I take back everything I said, More. You are playing beautifully this end of the game. And Dade actually struggling here against Deft, but the flash will get him to safety, and Deft out of position now. Happy able to lock it down, and this actually could be it as V flashes on top of Clearlove. EDG falling apart as Mouse, he's tanky, but he hasn't got any damage. Newbee are going to be able to lock this one in. That's the ace, and that could be the game.
More completely compensating for his lackluster early game. Now sitting 2-8-15, has hit 2 game-changing Tempered Fates to lead Newbee into massive fights. On the back half of that, really want to highlight V. He backed up from the Maokai, he got the TP in the flank, and he home guarded in to catch the back of EDG, making sure that that team fight wasn't just a 1 fight, it was a 1 game.
Yeah, the second Nexus turret is going to fall down. It is going to be Newbee tying things up here with EDG, a team that looked so dominant in the early stages of that game. And Newbee with a 9-1-7 Dade, might I add, on that Kassadin in the mid lane. Beautiful play out of everyone as the game moved on. And I have to say, like, I'm glad that, you know, me being mean to More sort of turned things around, because that guy towards the end of that game, like you just said, so good.
But this is the Newbee that we really